Okay, so you are now seeing my slide presentation.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. So again, so for this afternoon, what we'll be discussing is about the rhythm of English. Since you are already now particular with the different sounds of English, the vowel and then the consonant sounds. So what I will be giving you now this time is on how to um, pronounce words, specifically on where to put stress. Because when you're particular with on where to put stress, that will guide you now on how to pronounce the words properly and correctly. So the rhythm of English is brought about by the recurrence of stressed and unstressed syllables in a word. And when we talk of a stress, stress is the mark or sound we put on or give a word of syllable to make it stand out in the group. So that is the symbol that you can see at the top of the letter when you are looking at the dictionary. Then you can see there that there is a portion wherein there is a mark at the top of the letter. So that is actually a stress mark. Okay, so do not be stressed with stress, because I will be giving you some idea in order for you to identify where to put the proper stress for each word, because there's actually a technique. So again, a mispronounced word is caused by not following the proper stress. So are the rules pertaining to where to put stressed on each word. So most words with two syllables are stressed on the first syllable. So again, most words with two syllables are stressed on the first syllable. Just like when we pronounce the word lesson, we just say lesson, but actually when we are pronouncing it correctly, it has to be lesson, lesson, lesson. Okay, so you will notice that the sound of le here is stand out. Okay. And so the stress is here, lesson. Okay. So next is sometimes or most of the time we're actually pronouncing this word as holy, holy. Okay. So if you're just going to follow the proper stress mark on this word, we say holy, holy. So you notice that I prolong the sound of holy, holy, holy. Okay. The next one is usually we pronounce this as river, river. But if you're just going to pronounce it correctly, we say river, river. So you notice that the first syllable stands out. River, river. Okay. Then the next sound is always, always. We don't say always, we say always, all short all, always, always. Okay, then the next one is better, better, better. We sometimes, most of us in a usual location, we just say better, better. Okay, but it has to be better.
Better.
Okay,
Better.
so better. But be particular with the sound of be, because sometimes it sounds like
Better.
better. So that's better. Okay, so better, good, better, best, better. Okay, so next is service, 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 service. Okay, service. So we put the stress on the first syllable. So I would like to point out that when we talk of stress, there are three ways to make the sound stand out. So you will notice that as I pronounce some words, there are some sounds that I use speech. Let's say lesson, le. I use speech there to give more emphasis on the sound of le. But in holy, holy, I use I prolong the sound. I prolong the sound. Then sa river, river, I use speech on that manner. Then always, always, I use volume on that manner. Better, better. I use the sound, I use volume on that manner. Then service. So I utilize or I use um, um, volume in that manner. So putting stress, there are different ways you can stress pronounce the word and putting the stress through pitch, through volume, or prolonging the sound. Okay, just like holy, prolong. Okay, so again, most words with two syllables are stressed on the first syllable, but again, it does not always apply to all two syllabic words because we do have our different rules to apply on some words which has two syllables as we go through with our lecture. Then there are words that are composed of a compound noun. So compound noun have primary stress on the first component and a secondary stress on the second component. So when we talk of compound noun, it means that there are two words that are joined together in order for you to produce one word. So we call it the compound noun. So the component that I am pertaining here represents the word. Okay, let's say for example, peacock. Peacock. P is the first component and cock is the second component. So if it is a compound noun, so this is the first word and this is the second word, or the first component and the second component, the stress falls on the first component, P. Peacock. Peacock. Okay? Peacock. Oftentimes we just say peacock, but if we're just going to be more particular on the correct pronunciation of the words, we say peacock. And then the second one is these words. So the first component is flood and the second component is light. So sabi sa ating rule, the stress falls on the first component. So we say flood, I use speech. Flood, may pagkapiyak floodlight, floodlight, floodlight. So you see that there's a variation. So here, there is a stronger stress here, while here there's a lesser stress. Okay, then the third word is lighthouse, 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 lighthouse. Okay, so we put the stress on the first syllable and the no stress on the second syllable, or sorry, second component. Then next is we have lamp shade, lamp shade, lamp shade, lamp shade, lamp shade. He holds a lampshade. Where's the lampshade? The lampshade is there. Can you please get to me the lampshade? Okay, so we put the stress on the first component, which is lamp. Then we have sunflower, sunflower. So the first component here is sun, and then the second component is flower. Okay, sunflower, sunflower. Can you please give me the sunflower, sunflower, flower, naging flower, and then nasasyalan masyado.
Sorry.
Flower, sunflower. Okay, then next is blackboard, 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 blackboard. Can you please write on the blackboard? Write on the blackboard. Can you please erase what is written on the blackboard? Okay, can you please get the blackboard? Okay, blackboard. And then the next one is armchair, 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 armchair. Okay, so can you please fix the armchair? Can you please fix the armchair? Can you please get to me? Can you please bring me the armchair? Armchair. Okay. Then my favorite word to pronounce, milkfish. Milkfish. Can you please skip the milkfish? I want a milkfish.
I want bangus, char.
Gusto lang bangus na lang eh. Mommy, can you please cook for me the milkfish? Can you please get the milkfish? Ale, can you please give me 1 kilo of milkfish? Okay, so that's how we pronounce it. Milkfish. So again, if a word is a compound noun, again, a compound noun is a composition of two words that are joined together. The first component has the primary stress, and then the second stress for the second component. Okay, so if we have compound noun, we also have the so-called compound verbs. Again, these are words that are joined together, but this time, these words function as a verb. And we all know what a verb is, diba? So it's an action word. Okay, so compound verbs have a primary stress on the second component and a secondary stress on the first component. So baliktad sila ni compound noun. Si compound noun, ang stress ay sa first component, ang primary stress. While for compound verbs, the primary stress is on the second component. So let's have the first word. We have understand, understand. So the first component is under and the second component is stand. So we say understand, understand. She understands. She understands the question. She understands the question. She would like to ask if the person understands the question. Understand. Okay. Then we have overflow, overflow, overflow. So the water is overflowing. The water is overflowing, overflow. So the water overflows um, on the basin. The water overflows on the basin. Basin. Pag masya basin. Okay, overflow. We don't say overflow, we say overflow. Overflow. Okay, so there are actually two ways to pronounce this word. So again, the first component is inter, and the second component is interact. But usually we say interact, interact, interact. So the sound of T here is silent. Inner, we just say inner, interact. Sometimes it pronounced as interact, interact, interact. But most of the time, if you're just going to listen to American people, the Americans, they usually pronounce it as interact, interact. Okay, so silent T. So you'll notice that we have a primary stress on the second component or the second word, which is act, interact, interact. Okay, then we have the fourth word. We say outdo, outdo, outdo. Okay, actually you can try it even though you're muted. You can try it on your own. So repeat after me as I pronounce it. So just provided that you have to just mute your audio. Okay, do it on your own as I pronounce it. So outdo, outdo, outdo. Then we have undergo, 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 go, undergo, undergo, undergo. Pag magsasalita kayo na para lang ma-stress gumaganto yung ulo nyo, mahaba. Undergo, undergo, nandun yung force. Then we have the sixth word, which is overdose, overdose, overdose. Okay, so if you're just going to listen attentively on how I pronounce this word, so you will notice that I put much stress on the second component. Okay, so once again, I will be reading it. Understand, understand, overflow, overflow, interact, interact, outdo, outdo, undergo, 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 overdose, overdose, overdose. And we have the so-called intensive reflexive pronouns, which receive a stronger stress on the second syllable, such as the following. So when we talk of intensive and reflexive pronouns, so these are the words that ends with self or selves, wherein we put much emphasis on the suffix attached to these words. Okay, so the words self and selves. We put much stress on those words, on those syllables. So we say, sometimes we just say by yourself, ourselves, herself, myself, itself, themselves, themselves. We just say that in a usual conversation. But if we would like to be more particular with how we pronounce the words, it has to be yourself, 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 ourselves, ourselves, herself, herself, myself, myself. If you would like to blend the sounds, we say myself, myself. So some pronounce it that way, myself. But if you just would like to be more simple, you can just say myself, myself. This is myself. This is myself. Itself, itself. The bird itself is it's nice to watch. The bird itself is nice to watch. Themselves, 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 themselves. Okay, again, so I will be pronouncing the words. So intensive reflexive pronouns receive a stronger stress on the second syllable. So we say yourself, ourselves, herself, myself, itself, themselves. Okay. The next. So there are words that end with teen. There is a suffix teen. So this is how they should be pronounced. 30, 13. 30, 13. So you'll notice that there's a change on the stress. On the first word, on the first number, we say 30, 30. So the stress falls on the first syllable, which is 30. But if you're just going to change this word and we put teen, the stress falls on teen. So we say 13, 13. How old are you? I'm 30. I'm 13 years old. How old are you? I'm 30. I'm 13 years old. Okay, so next, 40, 40, 14, 40, 14. How old are you? I am 40. I am 14 years old. I am 14 years old. Okay, 40, 14. Then let's say 60, 16, 60, 16. How old are you? I am 60. I'm 60 years old. I am 60 years old. I am 16 years old. I am 16 years old. 90, 90, 19, 19. How old are you? I am 90 years old. I am 90 years old. Makakapag-pronounce pa ba ng ganun yung matanda na 90 years old? Baka hinihingal-hingal na yun. Okay, so 90 years old. So we say 19. I am 19 years old. I am 19 years old. Okay, dito marami nagkakamali. Natatawa ako rito. Sabi, 70. How old are you? I'm 70. Okay, so sabi 70 raw siya, 70. Natawa ko lang pa. Ewan ko ba, kala ko ba narinig yan? Basta sabi niya 70. Okay, it has to be 70. 70. 70. Hindi siya 17 na. 17. Diba? 17. Should be 17. So be particular with the rhythm so that you will not be pronouncing them incorrectly. So the correct one to pronounce these words are 70. How old are you? I am 70 years old. How old are you? I am 17 years old. I am 17 years old. Do not say 70 or 17. That's incorrect. Okay, next we have 50. 50. How old are you? I am 50 years old. I am 15 years old. I am 15 years old. Then we have 80, 80, 80, 18. How old are you? I am 80. I am 80 years old. I am 18 years old. So once again, I will be pronouncing the set. 30, 13, 40, 14, 60, 16, 90, 19, 70, 70, 17, 50, 15, 80, 18. Okay, so that's how they should be pronounced correctly. So there are words which has a functional shift, wherein they might be similar in terms of their spelling, but when they are now used in terms of their function, they change the stress. The stress changes. So if it is a noun, we say present, present, percent, percent. So if it is a noun, again, if it is a noun, if the word functions as a noun, the stress falls on the first syllable. If it is a verb, the stress falls on the second syllable, just like the examples that I will be reading to you. So present, percent. So the present that I am showing here, the present, it's referring to a gift. Present. Present is a verb wherein it's an act of showing something. Present. Let's say Mark presents the present to her. Mark presents the present to her. Okay, so that's what we meant by functional shift. Then the second one is permit, 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 permit. Kaya minsan 'di ba meron tayong nauuso pa dati yung examination permit. Binabasa namin yun is examination permit. Permit, which is incorrect because permit there is referring to a noun. So we say permit. It has to be examination permit. Examination permit. Okay? Joanna, the teacher permits Joanna to take the exam upon presenting the examination permit. Examination permit. The teacher permits Joanna to take the exam after she presents the examination permit. Permit. Okay, so permit is a noun, permit is a verb. Then next is subject, 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 subject. The subject, the English subject, subjects the student or the teacher of the English subject subjects the students to submit a very long essay. The teacher of the English subject subjects the student to submit a very long essay. Subject, subject. Subject is a noun, subject is a verb. Then we have record, 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 record. So record is a noun, record is a verb. So the record that she records is amazing, amazing. The record that she records is amazing. Okay, again, so that's functional shift. Rebel, 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 rebel. So if you're just going to use that in a sentence, the rebel rebels to the government because of there is inconsistency. The rebel rebels to the government because of their inconsistency. Rebel, rebel. Then we have the address, 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 address pertaining to let's say Marigman Street, Barangay San Roque, Antipolo City. That is an address. Address when you would like to say something to someone, how you will be calling someone. Okay, address, address. Okay. So again, those are the words when they are although they are similar in terms of their spelling, but they are actually pronouncing differently in terms of their function. So let me read them again. Present, present. Permit, permit. Subject, subject. Record, record. Rebel, rebel. Address, address. Then we have words with suffix. So there are some words that although you add suffixes on their root word, the stress on the root word remains the same the moment that you add the suffixes. So let's say happy, happiness. We add the suffix ness, but it does not affect the stress. So ha, 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 happy, happy, happiness. So the same stress pa rin. Okay, the same stress. Then assign, assign. So the stress falls on sign. But if you're just going to add the suffix ment on this word, so the stress retains. So we say assign, assignment, 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 assignment. Marry, marry. So the stress falls on the first syllable, marry. Then we say merriment, merriment. Although we add the suffix ment here, the stress still fall on the first syllable, marry, marry, merriment. Okay, then next we have interest, interest, interest. So the stress falls on the first syllable. We say interesting, interesting. Still the stress is on the first syllable. Then next we have cloudy, 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 cloudiness, cloudiness. So the stress falls on the cloudy, cloudy, cloudiness, cloudiness. Okay, then we have careless, careless, careless. So the stress falls on the first syllable, and then we say carelessness, carelessness. So although we add ness here, the stress still falls on the first syllable, the same parent. Then we have teach, teach. So obviously it's only just a one syllabic word. Then of course the stress falls on the first syllable. We say teacher, teacher, teacher. So by listening attentively, the stress still fall on the first syllable. Then we say honest, honest, ah. The stress falls here. So we say honestly, honestly. Although we add the suffix ly here, still does not affect the word, the stress on the word. Okay, so again, let me read the whole set. Happy, happiness. Assign, assignment. Merry, merriment. Interest, interesting. Cloudy, cloudiness. Careless, carelessness. Teach, teacher. Honest, honestly. Yung iba, honest. Ano eh? Ano pag naka-Pampanga, honest, honest. Nagsama pa Pampanga tapos ano, Rizal. Honest, hane. Ang honest, honest talaga. Hane. Pag nag-merge yung dalawa. Next, this is my favorite actually, my favorite rules because it's really make you more particular because most of the words ends with the following suffixes. If the words end with son, it, ikal, and iti, the stress falls on the syllable preceded by the suffixes. Again, if the words, be particular on this, if the words ends with the following suffixes, son, ik, ikal, and iti, the stress falls on the syllable preceded by the said suffixes. Ibig sabihin, yung sinusundan nilang syllable. Halimbawa, the word here is logical, logical. So the word is logical and it ends with the suffix ikal. And then the syllable preceded by ikal is log. So therefore, the stress falls on this syllable. That's why we say logical, 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 logical. What he's doing is logical. Then the word here, extension, extension, the word here ends with the suffix shon, and then we have other syllables, x and ten. Since the suffix preceded by the, since the syllable preceded by the suffix shon is 10. So the stress falls on this syllable. Okay, we say extension, extension, extension. Then we have historic, historic. So the word here ends with the suffix ik, and then the syllable preceded by the suffix ik is the syllable tor. So therefore, the stress falls here. So we say historic, historic. If it becomes historical, we say historical, historical, historical. Okay, the stress falls still in tor, historical or historic. Then we have simplicity, simplicity. Since the word ends with ity, so the stress falls on this syllable preceded by the suffix simplicity, simplicity, simplicity. And then this word perfection, perfection, perfection ends with the suffix shon. So since again the syllable preceded by the suffix shon is fek, so the stress falls here. We say perfection, perfection, and then do not pronounce it as shon, shin, shin, as in, sh and n. Hindi siya shon, shin, shin. Okay, to make it more more American sound, since we're imitating American sound. Okay, then we have examination, examination, examination. So the stress here falls on the syllable nay, since the word ends with shon. So we say examine, examination, examination, examination. And then we have economic, 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 no, mic. So it ends with the suffix ic. Okay, so with that, the stress falls on this syllable. We say economic, economic. Then we have dedication, dedication, dedication. Since the stress falls here because it is preceded by the suffix shon, shon. So dedication, dedication. And then we say possibility, 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 possibility. So the stress falls here. Okay, so just take note of the words that end with the following suffixes. Yung sinusundan nilang syllable, nandun nagpa-fall yung suffix na, yung ating stress. Okay, so many three-syllable words ending in consonants plus the letter Y are stressed on the first syllable. Ayan, isa pang palatandaan ninyo. Again, many three-syllable words ending in consonants plus the letter Y are stressed on the first syllable. We say ancestry. So we have three-syllable ancestry. Ending in consonants, it ends with the consonants TR, consonant TR and Y. Yun yung sinasabing consonants plus the letter Y. So the stress falls on the first syllable. So ancestry, ancestry. We say battery, battery. So it is also a three-syllabic word, the bat, the te, and the re. So since it ends with the combination of a consonant plus Y, so this is already an indicator that stress falls on the first syllable. We say battery, battery, currency, 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 artistry, 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 ceremony, ceremony. Maraming nagkakamali dyan since elementary ako. Sinasabi lagi is, okay, bulong basta kayong mga bata, magsisimula na ating flag ceremony. Ceremony. It has to be ceremony. Ceremony. Delicacy. 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 Okay, the stress falls on the first syllable. Ang bagal-bagal mo nga. Dapat kasi Delicacy ka eh. Charot. Okay. Delicacy. Okay. So that's it for the tips on how you can improve your pronunciation based on the different rules of stress.